In the past couple of days, I've noticed that a few people have left, and I say good riddance because you're useless. All right. This is reply video to JD. What up, JD? Um, you've been on your stuff like hardcore for the past year, and you really you put pieces to this great big puzzle that we're trying to put together. And I thank you, JD. There's other artists out there like Black Ram and Tito, who when they come out and they produce a good video or a video, you know it's going to be hot. So the topic of the video is why logical black men are hated. Once again, why logical black men are hated. So let's just run down the list before I get too hyped up, because you know I can get hyped up, you know. So, number one thing, or I'd say number 5, is that we are not doormats. I repeat, we are not doormats. Logical black men do a process that illogical black men don't. The process is simply thinking before moving. Got that? Before I leave my house, I don't just think of the automatic things that need to go on, like brushing teeth, taking shower. Even during these times, I'm thinking about possible situations that I may occur, you know, or may have to deal with. I'm thinking about ways to better myself, and sometimes just thinking about little things I can do at the moment, sporadically, to improve my daily life. See, right there, that extra step that's not automated is what illogical black males or males do. I'm sorry, I'm trying not to use race because we are just one people. And I'm going to get deeper into that. Number 4. You cannot run one past us. You can't run game on us at all. It's really and no different from the wild when a predator sees its prey. In a woman's eyes who does not respect an intelligent or logical black male, we are viewed as prey and we must be destroyed. You understand? Or erased from their brain. I'm going to get deeper into why, and I have a very, very keen logical thought of why these particular type of people, and I'm focusing on women now. I'm not focusing on the idiotic males out there, because the boil of the root down to it is who birthed these guys. So we're going to focus on them. Running something past us is almost impossible, because it's not like we're thinking that you're going to harm us, but it is like a second reference that we go to see if this is going to be a good outcome. It's all about outcomes, which 90% of women lack. You understand? They lack the outcome part. Yes, outcome that is indefinite or definite, where you go someplace and you get money and you've seen it repeated so many times, of course, that's nothing. We're talking about daily situations, new things that are spontaneous, people trying to trick you, people trying to get at you all the time. You know, hey, there's women who's done some stupid stuff in my life, and I will point out one real quick before I move on to number 3. I once had 2 girlfriends, right, who one time at a certain time paid $60 to a church when they were in the church. And it's just really strange because 60 was the exact same number that my second girlfriend had gave, but it was during tax time with her. You pay your tithes, yes, but when you are currently broke and you were just broke about a month ago and you finally got some money in your pocket, you shouldn't pay, I'd say, a quarter out of what you've made into tithing when you're still going to need help. They're not going to give you $10 or $15 back of that money. That's how I see it. You understand? I pay what I can. We're going to move on, because that right there makes me shitty even thinking about these dumbasses who were just broke and they're so drone like automated switches, like they were programmed to just be idiots, and not all women, but these particular illogical type of women. Okay, now this third reason why they don't like logical men is that you cannot put us into dangerous situations, which the majority of females out here would love to put you in dangerous situations. Amen, amen, amen. There has not been one, besides a few here and there, situations where we actually do, the process was going, where there wasn't one time where she came up with an idea to do something, an idea to, whether it be with my money or to do something or whatnot, an idea where it wasn't planned out right. It's just off the whim. Every single one of my relationships. And so it just goes to prove to me in my soul that they can get into these horrible, dangerous situations. And people have told me about their sisters who pretty much had a boyfriend and was like, hey, come over here, he's beat me up. Then they had to intervene into something like that. You understand? The guy who would go running to help his sister out is the illogical guy. See, when these guys are raised up with females and the male is missing and they're raised up with the mom, now they've become a bitch or illogical thinking. Sorry, I don't mean to call them a bitch, but sort of illogical thinking like them, because they haven't seen a different outlet. Everything is about sight. Once you've seen it, like monkey see, monkey do, then you can follow that. See, I've seen logical people. Not that many, and I'm not saying I'm better than anyone, but I've kind of said, well, this is how I want to be, and I'm going to this level. I'm never going down. Anyways, so now this one here is really crucial. Pay attention. Now, you've heard me say life is a big game. All right? It's a very big game. But do you remember when you were a kid and you were playing a game, and if you've seen other people lose or whatnot, you kind of say, oh, I don't want to lose. I don't want to be the loser. You understand? I don't want to be the loser. All right? So, because you didn't want to be the loser, you downloaded that in order to not be the loser, you had to be the winner. But you had to play the game in a certain way. Right? And so when you began to play the game, a lot of illogical kids, when they lose, they decide, okay, I'm not partaking in that game because it's a little bit too hard. It's a little bit too hard. All right. That is the state of where these illogical thinking people cannot meet with our game, the logic, at all. The game is way too hard. The game meaning in communicating with someone who is of way higher thinking, then they have to retreat. Do you follow that? They have to retreat. So let's get on to what I'm saying. Because you're an impossible task, I would say a task that requires a bit of effort, they are not interested in that. They don't want to put forth any type of effort whatsoever, these illogical thinkers, and mainly focus on illogical women. They can't, they will not, it's an impossible, it's taking that one step is like, I may lose the game. You feel me? I may lose the game. Now, it wasn't like this before. Man, the only reason why I'm so passionate is because I've seen different examples before the 2000 era. I didn't know life would be so sucky right now. But I've seen examples of women chasing men who had good stature and who had good things. I remember seeing this. I remember seeing and hearing. I remember where going to the army would be like a noble thing. And, you know, people back then, they were like, oh, man, he's going to the army. And, then, you know, he'd have friends and he'd be like the kind of a cool person because he's, you know, a person of patriotism and he's trying to, you know, fight for our country or whatever. I remember when you had a good job, kids would always be cool with you, you know, and when you had a good job, you were respected, or if you had something going on, you were respected, and people felt good about that. No longer is that anymore. You being able to make a job and have a nice car and houses, that's not shit to these women. It's nothing. It's been done 1,000,000 times over. And you're just another one of those digits. Do you feel me? Now, because of this right here, that you can look around and see Joe doing a whole bunch of things and William doing a whole bunch of things, and they have so many wide options that these illogical thinking women can go to whoever illogical thinking, whatever. They have so many dumbass choices that why would they try to get on to your level? Why would they try to get up and see a different light only to be able to go to the next so easily? See, logical thinkers, we can't just go to the next logical thinker unless we have a good friend or whatnot. But we can't, we're kind of like solo, you understand? Like we don't need people to give us, those bits and pieces of joy and happiness to keep us going. Oh my gosh, they're making me feel happy. Oh yeah, it's like, what? You're not even connected to that person in any way, shape, or form. Whether you're twins or whatever, when the person leaves the room, you have to make yourself happy. Am I correct? So therefore, you better get used to making yourself happy, or else you'll be like these simple-minded, illogical thinkers who feel as though, okay, this is a certain pattern, and I would like to follow this pattern of being an asshole towards logical thinkers, because us down here in the slums, we're a whole bunch of us non-logical thinkers can't have one of you smart guys taking our non-logical thinkers, because then we'll be stuck alone. You understand what I'm saying? And to boil it down, Imagine if you had to go to surgery on your brain, all right? And they took a certain section out of your brain. And it's the size of this vapor right here. Now, you would be slightly a different person. There'd be what we would call, O'Shea Jackson would say, 3/5 of a person, because there's some part of you missing. Well, let's take this analogy a little bit further. Suppose logical thinking part was never given to you in birth, okay? And there's been a whole gene pool of this non-logical thinkers for years, and it's splattered, and so it's the majority amongst the very few. All right, I have a very good picture of what I'm talking about right here. If I could go ahead and take that glare out of there. So basically, in this island that we have right here, this island or picture we have, you see, you have a whole bunch of dots over here on this island. All right, these dots represent the very many of people in this world. And as you can see over here in the dots, it's always raining. It's always a bunch of rain. You know, that's them, the non-logical thinkers. There's very many of them. Why, you know, everyone's normal, everyone's just non-logical thinking, laugh at anything or whatnot. But then as we come over here, you'll see us, the very few on this island over here. Now, the island's pretty small, but we kind of like it like that because it gives us a lot of air and fresh air. There's a lot of sunlight over here because we're not polluted by just stupidity. You understand? We see logic, we see through things, and we're left with hardly much of anything because we understand that life's more than just a whole bunch of bullshit and trinkets. Okay? Now, we're going to come back to this right here. Now, we're not us logical thinkers, okay? Based off of this right here, this picture. We are not dumbed down in training, okay? Like the majority who's been entrained to be dumbed down, okay? That to the point where it is almost like these non-logical thinkers police each other to be non-logical thinkers, and they're not used to a logical thinker coming in the area, nor do they want to be used to a logical thinker coming into the area, because they're going to have to start to think, a process which they're not familiar with and they have never had to do it back in the day. You understand? And I mean, there are some smart people who are book smart and have great jobs who are not logical thinkers. They're just robots. They just download a certain program and they feel as though if there's any other programs that are that come about, it's got to be bad. It's not something that they can add to their lives, download, and grow onto. You understand? Even though a lot of these particular women are leeches, and and that's the reason why they're leeches, because they're following whether their mom has been leeches or if they've seen their auntie has been leeches or whatnot. They'll go along with that because they're that type of program. They do it what less of need. Okay, I can get this by ease. I don't want to do any work for that, so I'll do this for that. You see what I mean? Everything for them is how can I get it easy? You understand? Us logical thinkers is how can we get it? You see what I mean? The big difference. We don't think about ease. Many times that's not even an option. I don't care about easiness. Today I had to do a whole bunch of stuff, especially on this old ass truck. This thing is called a gearbox. Google it. It's what controls the steering. And this thing is so old, you have to adjust the steering. And it took 4 hours just to adjust the steering to make it straight. But I knew it wasn't going to be easy. all I was thinking about is how can I get it done? You feel me? We are special, very deep, entrenched people. Now let's move on. Now, they have to bring you to a certain level in order to feel like they not just better about themselves, but in order to feel smart. Are you understanding the logic of a non-logical thinker? Think about it. You bring up a subject. It makes total sense. But because their whole lifestyle is based off of your truth of what you're saying, instead of saying, yeah, you're right, they don't want to do that because, one, there's either two things. They don't see the solution, or two, they see the solution, but it's going to take work. Do you see the connection with a non-logical thinking woman and a non-logical thinking man? You see what I mean? That's why you have these ghetto hood rats who can find these kind of same ghetto hood rat type of guys and live so perfectly, because this ghetto hood rat knows that she can suck resources from this guy for just 22 seconds of pleasure, maybe once a week. She knows this. She's done it a whole bunch of times. She saw her mom and she has done this. And I'm saying mom because, come on, let's just bring it down. Mom, or person who raised her, trained them. Not trained them like, hey, watch me do this. But they knew they were watching. And so they kind of wanted to formulate them into that same way. That's why I say that all of that is being erased, because the world is becoming more and more expensive. There's a lot of things that are more and more expensive. And there's a lot of things that we have already done so many times over and over again that we are now merging onto different things, and the old is just scattered back. Like I said in my drone videos, you're going to see, and I wanted to talk to this one particular guy who just doesn't understand that you doing packages and scanning and all of that, you need to stop that right now, and you need to get onto something where a computer cannot take over your job. You see, the change is happening right now. You will probably, in the next 20 years or 10 years, these trucks are not going to have people in them. To deliver food to a human being, we'll probably not have to get out of our freaking houses. Making money will be so totally automated, because we're merging into this way where no longer money will be needed. It's real hard to see, but this future is coming, because all of this technology we're looking at and everything, is just an experiment for us. We're just being tested. All right. So because of this movement, this fading of negativity is occurring. It is just fading. How you know about it is with this gays and stuff like that, and everybody's being cool about it, and the White House doing that. It all starts off with propaganda. Do you see what I'm saying? And so the people of the old illogical way of thinking, they're rebelling a bit, because they're seeing no longer are there more dumb people. Now they're still going to have their sectors of dumb. Don't get me wrong. And it's not dumb, it's just non-logical. Can't think outside of the box. They're going to be sectors, but they'll find that when they try to step out of their region, they'll bombard into us logical thinkers, us holding our heads high. You're not going to see some straggling bitch behind me, or some tail, or some chick behind me trying to siphon me, or pretending like we're looking good in a happy relationship, even though she don't give a shit about me. No, you're not gonna see that. That's called logic. You understand? Logic is when you love yourself so much that you're just with God and you. You know, these people are coming out of their shell. They see this and they're struck. So all they know quick, it's just automatic to shame in order to try to make you mad, and that's the whole process. See, they're mad in their cloud right here. They're in the shade right here. They're in the shade. They're very upset about that. Okay? The only way for them to come, and it's such a short path to logic, you see what I mean? But there is a separation. Anyways, I'm going to try to cut this video very short here, but I wanted to end it by saying, JD, me, you, Tommy, all of these guys on YouTube. It's just a small amount right now. But if you notice, all of these people, Brother of Logic, GW3X, you know, Minister Chat, you know, Jat, and all of them, it is expanding. I'm just a small spigot of whatever's going on in this whole entire movement that's going on. But you're going to see that all of us are really important, especially you, JD. You're very important. I came across you about a year and a half ago when I was just getting into this whole MGTOW thing. I didn't even know anything about it. I just knew I had liked pussy back then, and I realized something is wrong. Something is wrong with the game where I'm losing all the time and others keep losing all the time. Even people who have marriages or whatnot, they end up losing. I said something is terribly wrong, and then I said, aha, I see. So when these particular type of entities, meaning women, when they have you in a certain area, in a certain bracket, then the poison will seep in. They will sting you like a stingray. They will get you like a black widow. So I was like, oh my gosh, now I understand. They could never love a human male because once the resource is extracted and gone, they feel as though they need more. Hence why females in certain situations, when a male loses his job, where does the female go? You got it? Or when the resources are limited and they want more at a particular time, like my neighbor, you know, they will go and then they'll come back. You see, just like a cat. So when I realized that, then I said, oh, I know how to win the game. I win the game by playing myself, pushing my buttons, pushing me, doing me, and not worrying about some straggling female or entity who I always have to take. Instead of pushing my buttons to make me happy, now I have to be pushing their buttons to make them happy, and they're just losers who don't know how to push their own buttons. Hence the reason why we are logical thinkers. I will be alone for the rest of my life, and I love it. As long as I have my family, I'm good. I'm not here to partake in any female's bullshit. Thanks, JD.